Hi, this is Editor Troxel. In the previous tutorial, we learned how to add 5.1 audio to the track, but it would add a separate set of tracks for every event that was on the same track, and we'd rather have just one new set of tracks added for each track that we look at. So let's see how we can modify the script to do that. Here we are back in our script, and the first thing I did is at the very beginning I added me a Boolean variable called channels added for track. That way, if the channels have been added for track, I can not add new channels, just reuse the previous ones that we added. So down here, I wanted to first set that equal to false for each new track that we look at. So for each new track, if it is a video track, then channels added for track equals false before we process the events. Now for each event in the tracks, if the event is selected, then once again we get the media, we get the channel count, we set our found 6 equal to false, then we go through all of our audio streams, and if we have 6 channels, we set found 6 equal to true, and we add the channel. That's all the same as we had in the previous tutorial, except I made one little change right here. Previously we had mytrack.index plus 1. So what ended up happening, even though we only had one track, it turns out we were adding tracks 3, 4, 5, and 6, but they were showing up as 2, 3, 4, and 5 because there was no other track. So even though you add a track at index 3, if there's only one track, it's going to put it on 2. So I had to get rid of the plus 1 here because I'm actually adding the plus 1 here, the plus 2, plus 3, and plus 4. So because we're adding them here, I do not want to add it up here. And then at the end, after this loop, we had this if found not found 6. We were going to display this message, but if we did find 6, then I want to set my channel is added for track. The channels added for track is true, so that we don't create a new set the next time. So now if we come on down to the add event, I created me an audio track variable, which I just set to null because we're going to set it down here. But I needed to get the audio track variable defined before I did this check because I've got two different ways I can define it. If it's not channels added for track, then we create a new track just like we did before, and we add that to the project. Otherwise, we know what index we are using. It's t-index plus 1, t-index plus 2, and so forth down the line. So otherwise, we just get our track is the audio track from myvegas.project.tracks, and we get it from that index because the track is already defined. And then from there on, everything is exactly the same as the previous tutorial. So now it will only add tracks if tracks have not been added for that initial video track. So let's see how this works. I've created me a bunch of things on the timeline here. They are all separate events on the timeline. I can move them around however I want, wherever I want. And then I'm going to select them all, and we're going to run the script. So now we have one set of tracks added for this first video track, and then when we scroll down we have one set of tracks added for this second video track, and each set of these will be grouped separately so they can all be moved individually. So now we've seen how to add the 5.1 audio to the tracks, and we've figured out how to only create one set of tracks so that we don't have multiple sets of new tracks added and then have to move multiple events around just to get them all back on the same sets of tracks. The only thing that hasn't been done is you're going to have to reroute your 5.1 to go to the proper place. Does it go to the front channels? Does it go to the back channels? Is it the LFE? You're going to have to go in and define those for those tracks again. But other than that, you can at least get the 5.1 audio added back to the tracks, and as far as I know, I haven't seen any other scripts out there that does the 5.1 audio like that. So check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you'd like to see in future tutorials. Subscribe, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Please sign up at www.jettv.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.